those folks still are not being paid as a result of this shutdown, Jake.
All right. Abby Phillip at the White House, thanks so much. I have to say, I've been to Afghanistan twice. Once with President Obama in Air Force One. Once I actually did fly commercially. I can't believe that they're messing around with this. That is a serious flight. That is a serious business. And I'm not the Speaker of the House. I mean, to have a whole bunch of members of Congress going to Afghanistan to meet with troops and then to announce to the world that this trip was going to happen. Did they think this through when they came up with this scheme?
Well, and it's obviously the person third in line for the presidency that they're inviting to fly commercial into the war zone. Essentially, the White House felt very caught off guard when Nancy Pelosi publicly released that letter, basically telling the president, don't come address Congress on January 29th. They weren't sure how to respond, and they were very silent over the last 24 hours, which, if you know this White House or this president at all, is very uncharacteristic. So we essentially knew that they were thinking of something. And basically what I'm told from sources is this morning is when they really started thinking about canceling Pelosi's trip and what that would entail. It was several White House officials, including the new acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, and they made this decision. And this comes as the president has been very frustrated by all the coverage he's been watching because he thinks the coverage portrays Democrats as getting the upper hand here when he feels that he has got the upper hand as well because he hasn't come off anything with his wall. So he's been frustrated by that. So they were thinking of how to respond to that letter, such a move by Nancy Pelosi. They thought of this idea. They thought this was the perfect response. And of course, now the question is going to be, what is the coverage of this actually going to be? But the White House feels pretty good about this.
Can I just say one thing? That nobody who's ever traveled with a congressional delegation would think that this is funny or appropriate or cool.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, to a war zone, to a war zone.
I think you might be wrong, because Mick Mulvaney was a member of Congress.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what it entails to go on a congressional delegation. I don't have his record in front of me. I don't know if he ever went to a war zone off the top of my head, but he knows exactly what is entailed when those things take off. All the things that go in to having that many members of Congress moving around the globe together.
But he's been getting his head bitten off by his boss in this new role. So clearly he was trying to come up with something.
But we can't say they didn't know what they were doing, because they
No, agreed. Yeah. And the other piece of this, think about what message this sends to NATO, right? We've already had a bit of a ruffle this week with regard to our relationship with NATO. And so if part of the plan was Nancy Pelosi and this congressional delegation was going to sit down with some leaders from NATO and reaffirm solid commitment, and now the president took away the plane that was going to allow them to come and do that, what message does that send to those leaders?
Amanda, take a listen to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. He was asked about this move today. And pay attention to where he focuses his ire and on what.
I'm just shocked she'd even think that she would leave the country. Why would you leave the country with government shut down and you're Speaker of the House? Why would you even think the department? Because Nancy Pelosi was where at the time when he went to Iraq to visit the troops? I think she was in Hawaii.
Why would you leave the country to visit U.S. troops?
Listen, in theory, I'm somewhat open to the idea that grounding Nancy Pelosi may convince her to get in a room and deal. But this White House has not shown me any evidence that they are making that come true. They cannot solve the problem, so it's much easier to play petty partisan politics. And this is a move that will be effective at convincing the base that they are yet again owning the libs. But show me how it gets you to a deal. I haven't seen that.
I don't think it's going to convince Nancy Pelosi to do, the leader Pelosi to do that at all. I mean, think about the PBS NPR Mayor's poll that came out this morning that shows that Trump is actually down with core members of his base, suburban men.
Yeah. Let me.
I'm sorry.
Well, we have the graphic ready. I'll come right back to you. The new Paris poll shows 54% blame the White House, 31% blame Democrats in Congress. That's pretty much holding steady with other polls. A CNN poll earlier found 55% Americans blame Trump, 32% blaming congressional Democrats. A Q poll revealed 56% blame Trump, and Republicans responsible for the shutdown, 36% say Democrats are. Back to you.
Yes, okay. But within those numbers, we're talking about Republicans, we're talking about white evangelicals, we're talking about non-college educated white male voters. We're talking about this is starting to have an impact on core members of that core base that he has been holding on to and doing all of this for, all of these machinations for. So when he's losing like that, why would Pelosi, when they've passed the same bill that the senators have passed, I mean, why wouldn't she just say, you know, Mr. President, it's up to you. Open the government. There's no reason to hold everybody hostage, and we'll talk, but let's reopen the government.
But to step back and look at the bigger picture of this, we are nowhere closer to reopening the government.
Farther
Even
away.
if Nancy Pelosi
Farther
had
away.
left, we're really seeing
Hold on
the
one second.
sign
I'm
of
sorry to interrupt. Here's House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer talking about what's going on.
Broader sense on where things stand.
Look, we've been saying this all along. Shutting down government is a policy that is irrational, harmful, and inappropriate in a democracy. To take hostages, to say, if you don't do it my way, I'm going to take hostage not only 800,000 people who are working for us and not being paid, or half of those are furloughed and not allowed to work. That is creating an environment which is really very difficult. And the only reason this government is shut down because the President of the United States is stamping his foot and saying, unless you do what I want, I'm going to shut down the people's government. That is a policy that should never be accepted. And as a matter of fact, the majority leader said it was unacceptable that 800